Okay, this is Moshe here in Israel in the Galilee on the 26th of October. It's a Saturday. It's 9:11 in the morning and it's 69 degrees already. We'll hit 85 today. Wow, we're getting more temperate weather. 85 is fine. That's nice warm afternoon. Not too bad. House was so cold the last few days. Gosh, I actually used the heater. But you got to remember, we're used to running around like, I'm used to 85 at, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, 90, 94, 92, 91, So when it goes down at night to, 58, it's freezing for us. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to get into what happened last night with the attack on Iran, which was two waves, over 100 aircraft. What NATO said, which is shocking to me, but they said, and what happened in Iran and what Iran's going to do for a response. What about Hezbollah? What about the Houthis? What about Syria? We also attacked southern Syria and central Syria and Baghdad, Iraq at about the same time. And just before the attack, we attacked Lebanon voraciously. Okay, before we get going, they're saying there was a 4.9 earthquake in Israel. It was not an earthquake. We did have an earthquake siren, I believe, and we put red alerts out for an earthquake all through Israel. It was not an alert. We blew up a massive ammo depot in southern Lebanon, and it caused it to register on the Richter scale like a 4.9. So our automatic, earthquake detection systems went off with a red alert. It was not a red alert, but it was a 4.9 on the Richter scale from blowing up a massive ammo depot that was in Lebanon. Okay? Now, when you saw all the news that Iran had a 4.2 on the Richter scale explosion 10, 15 days ago, and they were testing a nuke, now you know, I told you at that time it was bogus. Now you know. You can take regular explosives and put enough of them together and it registers like a nuke. They have no nuke. Okay? It was an earthquake in Israel. Now you got the proof that Iran's got no nuke. All right, they did not test the nuke. All right, being a Bible-believing site, I'm going to do some praise. There is no Old and New Testament. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right. What I'm going to do now is jump into the live stream and make sure that we got sound and picture and put a couple of quick posts up while people are still coming in. Sound and picture. All right, we got sound and picture. All right, here we go. Okay. And I'm going to put my email address up if anybody wants to send in a prayer request or any toss request or ask a question and you don't want to put it in the chat. You can put prayer requests and so forth in the chat. You could ask questions in the chat. Try to keep the questions on point as to what we're talking about, so I can't go running around deviating, going off topic. You know, we don't get anywhere. Okay. So what happened? We did hit Syria and Iraq, Baghdad, Iraq. Military sites that Iran was using and the Iranian proxies were using over there. And that was at about the same time we were hitting Iran. We may have hit them on the way. I'm unsure yet. It was over 100 aircraft. We 100% were getting help from America refueling planes. I know it, everybody knows it, and Iran knows it. There's no doubt about it, okay? So America did not bomb Iran. We did, but they definitely assisted, and Iran knows it. So let's see what the big mouth Iran has to say and do about this, okay? Remember, Iran has been writing checks they can't cash. They're eating a lot of tossed salad and they're believing their own lies. They're nowhere near as powerful as they make themselves out to be. Not even close. We proved that with Hezbollah. People were saying, oh, Hezbollah's going to launch 3,000 rockets a day and wipe you. Come on. These people are delusional. They don't have what it takes. You can't fight a war without armor, without aircraft, without an air force, without a navy. They got immature anti-aircraft weapons. It's just nothing, okay? They're a hot bag of wind. That's it. This whole Shiite Muslim terrorist action in the Middle East is just a hot bag of air. It's not getting them very far, okay? And it's not going to, and it's going to result in Zechariah 12, verse 6. They're going to get knocked off. But let's continue. We hit only military targets. I do think an electric grid went out, but that could have been by accident. We did not hit nuclear facilities. It's stupid to hit the nuclear facilities. They don't have nukes. What are they going to do with their nuclear facility? What you want to hit is you want to hit the missile launching sites, the radar. What we did last night is we took out the radar in the first attacks. Iran is left pretty defenseless in terms of ground-to-air defense. Okay? The S-300 and the S-400 are to use plain street talk crap. They don't work well at all. Now, if you want to use them against, let's say, the South African Air Force or the North Korean Air Force, they'd probably be pretty effective. But if you're going to try to use them against a modern Air Force, they're junk. They're junk. Okay? We waltzed right in. How many planes did we lose last night? None. How many planes were damaged last night? None. How many pilots got killed last night? None. 20 targets were successfully hit in Iran. 20. 2 waves. Okay? Did Iran shoot back at any oil refineries in the Middle East? No. Did they attack any American bases or ships? No. Did they counterattack against Israel? No. What are they likely going to say? Well, we're going to pick a time of our choosing, and we're going to attack Israel. That's what the mullah jackass is going to say. The Khomeini idiot, you know? A carbon copy of Nasrallah who's pushing up daisies right now. You know, that's what you're going to get out of this moron. You know, runs around dressed in black because he says he's descended from Muhammad. How the heck does he know that? You think I believe he's descended from Muhammad? Come on. I don't think so. I think it's a scam. You know, the Queen of England used to say she was descended from Muhammad and King David. Yeah. The royal family says they're descended from both. If you think that's true, I have a bridge that connects New York and London. I'll sell you cheap. You know, it's a joke. People say anything. All the world leaders are like that. It's nonsense, okay? Khomeini is just as nuts as Nasrallah was when he was alive. They believe their own garbage, okay? All right. Let me tell you what NATO said. NATO said that if any country comes to the aid of Iran, NATO will get into the fight. Why the heck would NATO say that? Because this was always, beginning back on October 7th, about knocking out Iran. Ukraine was about knocking out Russia because of BRICS. BRICS is a very strong, concerted effort to take nations of the world off the US dollar, create alternative money transfer systems that America can't put sanctions on, and fine countries and financial institutions, and invade your privacy and banking. It has a debit card. It has a blockchain digital currency called BRICS Pay. And it has currency, paper banknotes. I put pictures of it up the other day on my Telegram. They're all over the internet. They're going after Amex, MasterCard, Visa. They're going after, Bitcoin and all the rest of them, which is secured by nothing. These brick dollars, for lack of a better word, whatever they're going to call their currency, is secured by commodities. To get issued so many brick dollars, which you could use digitally or on a debit card or in currency, are based on the country pledging assets to BRICS. So they have, 2 tons of gold or something, right? So they say, we pledge a ton of gold. And they take the current value of the gold and they give them BRICS dollars or whatever they're going to call it for that amount. They're speculating that the BRICS dollar, whatever they're going to call it, will be worth roughly about 20 US dollars. One BRICS dollar will be worth about 20 US dollars. So it'll be very easy for you for a man in his sport jacket and suit to stuff his pockets full of $100 BRICS notes and walk across borders with $1 million. Now, Putin may go from 100 brick dollar note to a 500 and 1,000. If he goes to 1,000, you could easily transport $1 million. A woman could put it in a big purse and stuff like that. So they are a threat because there's 159 people that want to use this digital payment system. And there's 30 nations that are going to be brought into the BRICS system, I think, in January. 30 more. They got about 10 now. That's 40. the dollar and the euro are not going to go down by 3% or 8%. They're going to go down 40, 50%. It's essentially a not so slow bankruptcy of the European Union and the United States, plus a lot of countries in Central South America that don't get into BRICS, and Africa and so forth. Okay? And the United States will be finished if they don't stop this. So the two big players in BRICS they're worried about the most is Iran, who sells 2 or 3 billion barrels of oil a day at $70 a barrel, $75 a barrel. Now that's a lot of money. But if Iran jerks the system around by attacking oil refineries in the Middle East of other countries, which we'll talk about soon, okay, or blockades the Persian Gulf, things like that, and oil goes up to, people are saying, $350 to $500. The wealth of Iran could go up fourfold, easily, fivefold. So 2-3 million barrels a day gives them a tremendous amount of money to build warships, missiles, rockets, training centers for terrorism, recruit more proxies in Africa and other countries, right? And just start killing all the infidels, which is everybody except the Shiite Muslims, or maybe some of the Sunnis they like, I don't know. So it's really, there are a bunch of twisted sisters, okay? Now, Russia and Iran are the ones that are selling the natural gas and the oil in BRICS. China and India, which are on BRICS, are the purchasers. Now they brought the UAE in, and they're in BRICS and they sell a reasonable amount of oil too. And all these transactions are going to take out without any US dollars or euros being used. I expect they intend to turn private banking back to where it was in the 60s or 50s in the world. They're not going to do any scrutiny and stuff like that. All the drug cartels, the criminal cartels, the two-bit bum dictators, all of these people are going to be joining BRICS because they're going to feel safer with their money. So the commodities that people are going to post are going to be gold. And we think they're also going to take natural gas and oil and possibly wheat, grain, rice. We don't know yet. We'll have to see how they release it. But oil, natural gas, and gold for sure are going to be acceptable to post as collateral to get your BRICS dollars. If this goes on within a few short months, you'll see in America probably 50 million people walking the streets. More than what they have now. McDonald's is in real trouble with it. 75 people got, I think, E. coli or something from McDonald's. I wonder if Ronald McDonald got sick. That's a joke. Okay. Hold on a second, a little spiritual warfare, man. All right. So NATO coming up with that wisecrack is definitely telling Russia, stay the heck out of it or we're going to escalate the war in Europe against you. Was Russia helping Iran last night? Not a thing. Did they take down any missiles last night? Not a thing. Did Israel launch missiles from Israel surface to surface to Iran? No. We haven't used those yet. Iran said they would respond. Now, you have to understand this. This is very important. Iran has lost face with the Houthis, with Hamas, with Hezbollah, with the Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria. They have lost face because everybody realizes now Iran has a big bark and no bite. I'm just checking the chat. Okay. Notice we're not getting the pro-Palestinian trolls in here now. They're embarrassed. Their hero was Iran. Iran's gonna wipe Israel out. Iran is just run by another delusional psychopath who, in my opinion, is not a Muslim, just a straight-up Satanist, like Nasrallah. And he's deceiving and leading these people astray. They're telling them Israel's going to get the Dajjal, and the Dajjal's going to kill all of you. It's satanic doctrine. It's lunacy. Okay? It's just idiotic. So we need to talk about what can and will Iran do. But we're speculating now. You must understand. Yesterday and 6 times before in recent days, I've covered the prophecies in the Bible. Jeremiah 49, which comes just before the destruction of the daughter of Babylon in Jeremiah 50 and 51. Elam, which is composed of parts of Iraq, Syria, and Iran. So those parts are controlled by Iraq, Syria, and Iran. So they're not going to let just part of their country get destroyed. They're going to get in the fight. So Iran, Iraq, and Syria are going down. They're going to be busted out so bad, all their inhabitants are going to flee and scatter into all the countries of the world, every one of them. And the sword will follow them until they're gone. This is what they want for Israel. Drive the Jews out of Israel, okay? Let them go in the nations, and then we'll start pogroms and persecutions in the nations and just kill them all. And that's what's going to happen to them. They're reaping what they sow. And it says, the bow of Elam, their might shall be destroyed. The bow is the missile launcher. The arrow is the missile. That's what it is. And that's what's going down. Did Israel hit some of their missile launchers? Not so much. They got hundreds of them. What they did is they hit missile factories and storehouses, military bases, things like that. Okay? But their radar was defeated. They could sit there with a World War II anti-aircraft gun with a round metal sight on it with, little circles in it. And they could sit there and try to see an Israeli jet and go boom, 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 boom. But it doesn't work on high-speed jets. Maybe on old propeller planes you had a chance. They were maybe going 300 miles an hour. But a jet, even not breaking the sound barrier at 600 miles an hour, is too fast. But if the jet's got the afterburners on, it's going 1,500 miles an hour or more. You can't do that. Boom, 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 or shoot flak at it. It's just a joke. They can't do it. Okay? Russia did nothing. Nothing. Did we hear Russia threaten Israel? We did not. What did Hezbollah do right after we attacked them, which was about 4 o'clock in the morning Israel time? They sent 2 drones into Israel. 2! Wow! What happened to those drones? They got shot down by Israel. Did the Houthis in Yemen do anything? No. What could they do? Did we get anything coming in from Syria or Iraq? No, because we probably preemptively struck where they were getting ready to launch at us. Now, what would happen if Iran starts setting up missile arrays to make another attack? They got no defenses, kids. Okay? Israel will just fly in and blow up their missile arrays like we did with Hezbollah. These brain deficient idiots in Iran, these crazy terrorists, what they should have done is, instead of trying to build up such a massive missile array as a deterrent, they should have put their time and billions of dollars in creating a reasonable anti-aircraft system. But they didn't do that. They're in bad trouble. They irritate Israel. You know, first of all, how long does it take to restore your radar system? Well, admittedly, if Russia says, oh, I'll give them more S-400s, number one, they don't do any good. So Russia is throwing good money after bad money, you could say. Okay? So why would Russia do that? And how many S-400s do they have? And don't they need them? Yeah. Russia can't do anything. NATO is chomping at the bit to rip them apart and divide their natural resources amongst themselves. Russia can't even drive the Ukrainians out of Russia that are occupying 135 square kilometers in Russia. They can't even run them out. They can't stop Ukrainian drones from hitting St. Petersburg and Moscow and other places and blowing up oil refineries, ammo depots, fuel depots. They can't stop them. They can't push all the way into Ukraine. They have to get missiles and drones from North Korea and Iran. Why do you think it was so important to hit those missile targets, missile storage facilities, missile factories? Because America wanted her proxy Israel to do that. Because a lot of these weapons are flowing into Russia to be used in Ukraine, which means the NATO states have to write bigger checks and send more and more and more military equipment into Ukraine. What would happen if Russia starts messing with Israel? Oh, you'll see large cargo planes of weapons and iron domes and many things go over to Ukraine. What are some of these many things? Well, they're going to enable Ukraine to tap into the phone calls and radio transmissions with encryption that the Russians use, successfully do so. Okay? Israel will give them long-range missiles that could hit Moscow and St. Petersburg. Okay? They'll take the Jewish star off the missile and put the Ukrainian flag on it. They, what? Who? Me? No, I don't know where they got the missiles. You know? The Russians will say, well, we found the missile. There's parts in there written in Hebrew. Well, Putin, you jackass, we found your missiles in Yemen and Lebanon. So go take a long walk on a short pier, Vlad. Putin's got a big mouth and he doesn't have much behind it, believe me. Just like that mentally ill person Khomeini, when you have a mentally ill individual running the country and you go to war, it is normally bad for you. Will Iran attack Israel before the election? I'm thinking the election. I gotta look. Is it November 4th or November 5th? I better look already. I need to look. Well, it's the 5th. Usually it's a Tuesday, so it's November 5th, not the 4th. Okay. Will Iran attack before then? I don't know. What are my thoughts on Iran doing a counterattack? I'd say it's mandatory for Iran to do this. If Iran had their head screwed on straight, which they don't, they're delusional lunatics. They're the type of person you'd find in a civilized country, which Iran is not, where they take serial killers, serial rapists, serial child molesters, and they say, well, this person doesn't know right from wrong and is not fit to stand trial. And they put him in a hospital for the criminally insane. It's a high security hospital / prison. And they keep him there. How many years they can keep him there, I'm not sure. It probably varies state by state what happened. And, if the person was killing lots of people, it's going to be hard to ever release him. If the person was walking around the streets in the snow with no clothes on, singing songs or something, well, that kind of person they could release or something, But it just depends. Okay, so these are the kind of people you're dealing with Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Iran-backed militias, Iran itself. They're demented. They're psychopaths. And psychopaths, aside from, they're delusional. They're not in reality. Iran is not in reality. They're not in the real world. Iran sees things through kaleidoscope glasses. They don't see things straight, these Khomeinis, descended from Muhammad, I wear black. Give me a break. Yeah, George Washington slept in the mosque in Tehran while you're at it. It's just stupid. All right, so will they attack? Well, they've lost face last night with their proxies. If the proxies fold and say they're finished with Iran or they're destroyed, I don't care what America says, Israel's going to go and they're not going to give Iran 20 site attacks. They're going to give them 180. They're going to put Iran back in the dark ages militarily. They're going to take out their oil refineries. I don't even know if they want to bother taking out the nuke facilities. I wouldn't even pay attention to them. But they'll take out their oil and gas, their ports, their piers, their power grid, their airports, their trains, bridges. They'll put Iran in the dark ages. That's what they'll do. They'll blow their boats up, their Navy boats. Big, tough Iran didn't attack a single American warship or a single American base. They just sit there and throw threats around. Will they throw more missiles at Israel? Likely. Will they do it sooner or later? I'm not sure. They're going to sit there and debate the ramifications of doing it before Election Day, on Election Day, or after Election Day. I don't know what they're going to come up with. For them, it's better for Kamala to win the election than Trump. By far. Does that mean that they'll postpone it or do it before? You got me on this one. I don't know. they're scared. If they start staging and getting ready for a big missile bombardment, I guarantee you Israel's going to do a preemptive strike with 100, 140 planes or something like that and start blowing up all these missile launches. Now, they may go into emergency launch mode while they're being blown up and start to attack. It's near impossible for Israel to destroy Iran, which Iran will be destroyed. It's in the Bible, as will Iraq and Syria, by enemies in the plural. So it's not just Israel. So you can be pretty certain that other countries are going to go in after Iran. NATO and Europe and the allies of America would be your likely suspects here. And NATO already came out in the open and said they would go in. Look, in America, like all the countries in the world, Satan's the God of this age, not that. When I say it in the English Bible world, it's the wrong word. It's ion, this age. This age is closing out, by the way. But yeah, in America, they run the government, they run the major corporations, they run the city, county, and state governments, they run the law enforcement, they run the courts. You know, it's like that all over. You're not different. And they're all going to come to an end. This is the final days of America, kids. Daughter of Babylon is going to go down, but I believe they're going to take out Elam, Iran, Iraq, and Syria before they go. Now, Iran could launch the the sleeper agents in America that they have, which is probably in the thousands and tens of thousands. And the other countries have them too, but I think it'll be a concerted effort. Will China come bail Iran out? Most likely not. They'll probably tell Iran, just don't counterattack Israel. Let it go. And that's that. And Iran's never going to do that. So China might say, listen, you know, we're not going to come over there. We got problems with Japan, South Korea, and China, and America's got a lot of warships there. For us to dominate the region, we'd probably have to bring 35 warships. We'd have to land at least 100 or 200 planes in Iran, and they could get blown up. And we're not going to do that. South Korea can't do much of anything. Neither can Russia. Neither can Venezuela or Cuba do anything meaningful. So, if Iran was smart, which I assure you they're not, they're under delusions, but if they were smart, the bottom line is we got to wait and see what Iran's going to do. They could try to stage 2,000 or 3,000 missiles and rain them down on us, and that would be a likely response from them. But again, America and Israel are surveillancing, using drones, planes, everything, boots on the ground intelligence, and if they see a big attack coming, Israel will just go back and attack them again. Like we did with Hezbollah when we took out 6,700 launchers. It's curious that we haven't seen anything coming out of Hezbollah. Hezbollah may not be that strong anymore. Some days ago, the IDF told us they were down to 30% effectiveness from before, from a couple of months ago. And that's a significant decline. So let's take a look. I'll take a look real quick in my social media, which comes from all different sources, and let's see if we have any updates here that are interesting. So I'll read them out to you as we go. So to replace their radar that we took out is probably going to be in excess of a month. They got to convince Russia to throw more radar at them, which I don't think Russia's going to do. And then they got to get it, and they got to set it up and get it running, at least a month. And I'm not so sure Russia's going to do that anymore. So let's see. Um, if this broke the spirit of the Iranian proxies, it's going to be easier to dismantle them, because many of them will just run away and get dressed up as civilians and stay out of the fracas. Some will leave the countries they're in, and there'll be a lot of surrendering. Saudi Arabia comes out and says, oh, they condemn the attacks. The Houthis, the Hezbollah, the Hamas, and the militias in Iraq and Syria and Iran need to remember one thing. These mental midgets started it. We didn't start it. They started it. And when you start something, it generally doesn't work to go suck up to them and say, oh, we're sorry, we tried to kill your country. No, it doesn't work. It works in the UN, but it doesn't work with Israel. Okay, here it is. There was about 7 in the morning a underground Hezbollah base was hit in Lebanon, and the hundreds of tons of explosives were used and the intensity of these explosions and shocks caused the earthquake alarm. This may have crippled Hezbollah significantly. It was such a massive arms depot. We had a lot of airplanes in the air, our planes protecting us this morning, but I'm not hearing them now. So we're not even worried. Iran can't even fool their own people now into saying they can defend them. It's a laughing stock. Iran is a laughing stock now. You got it? The memes are going to be coming out all day today making fun of that psychopath Khomeini, president of Iran, and all the other culprits. And they're going to just, they lost face badly. You can't get beans out of social media from Iran. They don't allow anything. You get nothing. You get soccer scores, information about a new supermarket. You can't get anything from there. Even if it's written in Farsi, their language, you don't get anything. At this point, Israel does not intend to go back and do more attacks. They said this is our retaliation for the attack on us, and it's closed. We're finished. And that gives them, squeaky clean to say, Iran started it. They attacked us, we attacked back. They attacked us, we attacked back. And that's it. So if Israel's going to wait and see what Iran does. But I'm telling you, they're not going to wait till the missiles start flying. They're going to hit them when they see Iran staging. Iran can do a lot of different things. They can take their crazy go-fast boats and their other crap navy, and they could try to close the Persian Gulf. What would happen there? Oh, everybody's planes. Mostly America and the UK would start bombing the planes with missiles and bombs. They would be destroyed. They wouldn't let it happen. Can Iran start launching missiles at the other countries and take out their oil refineries to create an oil crisis and rise prices and hurt America and Europe? Yeah. Do I think they'll do that? I'm not sure. They might. Will Iran hit the American bases directly? I doubt it. Will Iran use their militias in Iraq and Syria to hit the American bases? I expect it. Because they'll play this game with America. Well, they did it. We didn't do it. And America's going to say, that card you've been playing is just worn out. We're attacking you now. But that might not work. America and the UK may just attack the militias, extensively, like, 50 bombs or something like that. I don't know. Can Iran and her proxies raise a infantry and march on Israel? This is very likely something that Iran would try. They could take 50,000 or 100,000 IRGC troops. So we're sitting here and we're waiting and wondering what's going to happen next. But it's very important you understand the first targets that were taken out was Iran's ground-to-air defensive radar. So what they did in baby talk is they put Iran's eyes out. They stuck hot pokers in their eyes and burned their eyes out. Iran, they can't see. And what Iran needs now is Russia, China, or somebody to come over there with good warships, intelligence gathering ships, and use their radar. But for what? I don't know. They're not going to be, their missiles are crap. And their missile systems probably don't integrate into the ship's radar very well or at all. And they're not going to accomplish any takedowns. What they will accomplish is warning that the attack's coming. So they could call everybody into the bomb shelters as if they care about their own people, which I doubt they do. But Iran's in bad trouble. Bad trouble. Now, could Russia bring weapons to Iran to help them attack us? Well, Russian weapons don't work against the Ukrainians very well. That's Ukraine. That's not Israel. Israel's like 3 steps higher up than Ukraine is in the greatest scheme of war things. So no, it is not going to be that effective. If BRICS wants to save the day and continue to crush BRICS and stop it before it destroys the euro and the dollar, what would need to happen, what would need to happen is South Korea launches and fires and attacks North Korea attacks South Korea. Iran attacks Taiwan. At the same time, Japan gets into the fight, American ships get into the fight. America's really dragged out over there, and they're going to start putting more resources there. Russia has to attack other NATO countries, which gives NATO the full right to destroy Russia and grab the natural resources. We gotta really, the only thing left to do here is just wait and see what happens. Iran's in shock right now. They knew it was coming because there were reports that America was bringing a lot of tanker planes over. That got them scared. They didn't know what hour or what day it was coming. They knew it was coming. If their radar, when it was still functioning, picked up the tanker planes, then they knew they were on. It was on. So they might have had some warning, but what did they do with the warning? Nothing. This is not going to go away. This is going to get worse. There is a possibility of some type of a ceasefire in the Middle East popping up. I tell you this right now. It would be rather temporary, but it could happen. I don't see Iran destined for that. I see Iran, Iraq, and Syria destined for destruction. So at this point, I don't know what else to tell you. I can take questions. Iran's scared now. I'm telling you, they're quaking in their boots. But serial killers that kill children and women and old people and everybody else that are cruel to animals, they get scared, but they don't operate in reality. They are operating in delusions, and they might counterattack anyway. See, the chances of a ground invasion into Iran by anybody, combined or otherwise, is minimal. They would love to see somebody try to do a ground invasion against them. They would probably never succeed. But Iran would look like a garbage dump, but they'd never succeed. See, that's the psychosis of Iran. It would look like a garbage dump. Okay. Let's see if we got any new news up there. See, it's Shabbat in Israel, and a lot of the people that come up with good news are not working on Shabbat, even though there was a strike on Iran. They're still not going to work on Shabbat. Iran did launch their anti-aircraft defense systems. It didn't work. They got them, but they're ineffective, you know. It's like going hunting with a, for a 1,200-pound grizzly bear with a 22 rifle. All you're going to do is get the grizzly mad. You're not going to do anything. You might scratch his skin or something like that, or get a light penetration in his skin. It would be like hitting a person with a Daisy air rifle. That's basically what we got. Okay. If any of you have things you want to add to it, email me. If any of you want to ask me questions, email me. I'm getting questions about coming to Israel from people now, like flying over here on an airplane as a tourist. Yeah, there are flights. There's no problem. El Al is the best airline to take because of the war. And you can get directs out of New York area, I believe Miami and Atlanta, maybe Washington, D.C. You can also use other airlines which normally are going to stop in UK or France, maybe Germany or Netherlands. They're normally going to stop. And what you could do, if let's say you were going to France or the UK or something, or Netherlands, stop, try to break your trip up and take 2 or 3 days off if you got the money and the time. And first of all, the jet lag to Europe, if you're going to France or UK, the jet lag is much less than it is going to Israel. Okay? Much less. The jet lag from America to Israel normally takes people in good health 3 days to recover from. Okay? It's pretty strong. There are homeopathic things you could take and other things, and it does help. It mitigates, it helps. You can get off the plane in France and take a hotel for, I would say, at least 2 days, if not three. 3 would be better. And adjusting to the jet lag in France is not that major. And you can run around and, go look at the Eiffel Tower and the museums and eat French food and, stuff like that, Un tasse de café, s'il vous plaît, is give me a cup of coffee. All right, anyway, I think you say Olay with milk. L-A-I-T, I believe, is milk, and A-U is with. I used to be pretty good with French, but I don't use it anymore. So you could do that. You could do it in the UK. The UK is kind of a long trip to America, to Israel. If France is, if you go to Orly or Charles de Gaulle, I think it's about 3.5 hours, something like that, maybe 4. It's not that bad. So that's a good way to bust it up. And then when you get to Israel, if you come from France to Israel, the jet lag is going to be like going from New York to Las Vegas or something. It's not going to be that big a deal. Maybe the first day you'll be a little out of it, just that, not much. So that's an interesting idea. There's no cruise ships coming to Israel, so that ain't going to work. All right? Other ways to fly in, I would not go to Jordan. I would not go to Egypt, any of those places whatsoever under any circumstances. And it's not going to help you with the jet lag. Once you got to go all the way over to Italy, the jet lag difference between going to Italy and going to Israel is minimal. Although the flight time, you can come from Rome to Tel Aviv is 2.5 hours. Yes, you can come in. Yes, you can get a tourist visa. Yes, they'll give you 90 days at the airport immediately. Actually, you'll get it from a machine. You'll get it, if you're coming from the EU or America or one of those countries, you'll get 90 days. Okay? Everything in Israel is expensive. Okay? If you needed to go to the hospital, that's going to be a massive problem. Okay? Massive. Because you're not going to have insurance. If you buy into that travel insurance, you got to get the kind where they pay the hospital directly, not you pay the hospital and then try to get your money back from them, which is going to be a joke. Okay, if the travel insurance does not pay the hospital directly in Israel, it's a joke. To see a doctor in Israel is going to cost you about $65, $65 probably for a visit. And this is not you're really in bad shape. This is some minor thing you need, you got a cough, cold, or you got an eye infection, or your sinuses are running, or you got an allergy, or you feel stomachache. You can drink the water in Israel immediately. You will have no effect from the water. Nothing. It'll be fine. You could eat all the food in Israel. Their health inspectors are on the ball. You're not going to have any issues with the food. Nothing. You're not going to get sick from the food or the water. Okay. Hotels will be on the cheap side because of the war, but I'm thinking probably $120 to $150 a night for a nice hotel. And you might not enjoy yourself with the red alerts, and it's, what are you going to do here? You got to ask yourself that. What are you coming now for? What are you going to do? And you could get stuck here. A lot of issues, guys. You got to ask yourself, why am I coming now on my own? Because you're not coming on the Great Exodus. You're coming on your own Exodus. And, renting a place long term is going to be rather expensive. Okay. If I was going to rent the guest house out with the furniture, I could get hands down $1,500 to $1,800 a month. Hands down, no problem. And it's 2-bedroom, 700 or so square feet. That's what I would get for it. I might even be able to get $2,000 from a tourist, someone that wants to be here a few months. Okay, that's what the rents are like here. Of course, it's furnished. It has high-speed internet. It has appliances. 2 bedrooms, nice beds. Got air conditioning, which is also heaters. It has nice furniture. It has a adequate kitchen. A full-size stand. It's not a huge refrigerator, but it would be considered full-size. It has a very good convection oven that I miss, and it has a microwave. It has a sink. It has dishes, silverware, and it has bedding and sheets. And we have a patio in the back that's covered by the birds, and you could eat out there. And we got barbecue grills and things like that. So it is a rather it's, a nice place. You can park the car nearby. You can walk to things. It's like 300 yards or something like that, 400 yards to the overlook where you could see the whole Sea of Galilee, 7 miles this way, 5 miles this way. You could see Jordan. You could see the Golan Heights. You could see everything. So it's called the Outlook. It's very, I don't know, it's a, 8-minute walk or something like that, 10-minute walk. It's easy, straight shot. It's a simple walk. But the place itself has no view. It has a view of the garden and the birds and stuff like that. And the yard, it's very quiet here. So, and we got 2 bomb shelters, one for the guest house, one for us. Not that I'm telling people, hey, I want you to come in the guest house, but just to give you an idea of what things cost. If I rent the guest house by the day, we would get $200 to $300 a day, depending on how many people they had. So that gives you an idea of what things cost in Israel. Okay. Now, if you're like a hobo, vagrant college student, you could live in a hostel, probably with a big dormitory room where there's 8 or 10 beds and strangers are in there sleeping near you, and it'll have communal showers and bathrooms, and that'll cost you about $50 a day, 40, 50, 60 a day. And that's just using a dormitory. Everything in expense is expensive in Israel. It's very expensive. Okay? So if people are thinking to come here, you better take a look at what you got for a budget. I'll be glad to talk to you. You could send me email, and if we can't do it on email, I could arrange to talk to you over the internet with voice, So yeah, I mean, there's stuff that could be done, but it's not cheap. Okay, you're not gonna, I mean, you could go to a campground by the Sea of Galilee and pitch a tent, and they have a shower and a toilet there usually that people share, and you're just sleeping in a tent on the grass, and they gonna get probably $15 to $25 a night for that. And I don't believe they're allowed to do that now because of the war. So that's not going to happen. Okay. And you're not going to be able to go backpack around in the wilderness here because the IDF, the drones are going to see you, and then a helicopter or commandos is going to come down, and you're going to have an unpleasant experience at the point of arrival because they don't know who the heck you are and what the heck you're doing there. And then when you come up and you can't talk Hebrew and you're giving them a foreign passport, you may get taken in for interrogation. And they may just tell you they're driving you to the airport and a soldier's going to sit with you, or a security guy from Shin Bet, until he sees you get on the plane, and they'll make sure you'll get on a plane and get rid of you, because they're not going to put you in jail, they're not going to harm you, but they're going to be very, very worried. What the heck is this character doing out in the middle of nowhere? What's he up to? Maybe you got a satellite phone and you're calling in drone strikes. They don't know what the heck you're up to. Renting cars in Israel. Take the price for renting a car in America and double or triple it. That's what it will cost you here. Or it's probably pretty similar to what you'll pay in an expensive European country, like Switzerland or maybe the UK or something like that. You're going to not get a cheap rental car. You're going to pay for a rental car, okay? And gas is pushing $9 a gallon for diesel. Okay? If you want to go to a nice hamburger place, not a McDonald's, you don't need E. coli. If you want to go to a nice, they do have them in Israel. They got kosher McDonald's and non-kosher McDonald's. They got Pizza Hut, but they're kosher, I believe. I think. Kentucky Fried Chicken, I believe they have only the kosher ones. It's good. I had it once, but I never wanted to bother getting it again. It wasn't that good. It didn't taste tasty at all. It tasted acceptable, but that was about it. It wasn't gross where you couldn't eat it, but it was certainly not worth buying again. McDonald's is really not worth buying again here. It's very expensive. So you'll spend, if you went to McDonald's, I'm thinking, for a big hamburger, I mean a big one, not the biggest, but a big one, fries and a drink, probably $30, $35, something like that. 30, I'd say. It'd be hard for me to imagine you're going to eat at McDonald's if you're hungry and not get out. You're going to be at least $25 or something. It's very expensive living in Israel. That's where I have to be, so I put up with it, but it's very, very expensive. And if I took my house and went to a rural area, which is where I live in America, I would be able to get a house like this with probably double or triple the land and a swimming pool and a jacuzzi for half the price. I have no pool and jacuzzi, and we don't have that much land. Hold on. I may have to go open the door. Nope. Hello? It's Shabbat Shalom. What's cooking? Okay. Right. I think I could get it. Yeah. When are you going to be here? I'm on the line. I'm on the air now with the live stream. So when would you? No, just tell me when you're going to come. No problem. I'll have the back door open and I'll get the headset. Okay. Okay. Bye. Sorry. It's possible my wife's getting out of the hospital today. I don't know yet. It might be very hard to get her discharged because of the Shabbat. I don't know. So, anyway, people are asking me about Israel. Yes, you can come to Israel. You could fly here. Yes, they'll be nice to you. The plane tickets are right now not very expensive and not very cheap. I guess from America, 1,200 round trip on El Al. Europe probably 8, 6, 8, depending where in Europe. 900 maybe. I don't know. It depends. If you come from Romania or Rome, it's pretty cheap. Depends where you're coming from. Okay, so that's the thing on that. I'll help if anybody wants to come here. They can ask me questions. The guest house right now, we're probably going to have. We're not going to be able to rent it right now. It's just not. You know, it's not. We're not renting it. Okay, with the war and everything, we don't want to have people sitting here and telling us, scaring us about the war. What do I do? We're not doing that. So anyway, it's not the greatest time to come to Israel, and you better have nerves of steel, a lot of faith, in other words. So, okay. Um, what else can I tell you? That's about it. And I don't have any more news. As the evening comes on in Israel, we'll get more news from Israel. Okay. Because the Shabbat will be over. But during the day today, I don't think there's going to be a tremendous amount of news coming forth. Oh, what a nice person. Sending hate from California. Okay. Wow, we got an actual free Palestine today. How about that? After what happened to Iran, I'm really surprised that they would do anything like that. I'm coming to volunteer. What are you going to volunteer for? The military? What's the weather like in December? Cold, damp, wet, uncomfortable. The dollar buys 3.8 shekels approximately right now. El Al is charging 3,000 from New York. Okay, they jacked the prices up again. Yeah, they do that from time to time. They profiteer. Sorry about that. It was down a while ago. So what you do is you look for cheap flights to Europe if you're coming from America, and then look. First start with Europe. What flights in Europe go to Israel cheap? Rome is a good place to look. Poland is an excellent place to look. Excellent. And Romania. Poland, Romania, Czech Republic have cheap flights to Israel. And Rome's not so bad. And then look at how much the flights cost to go from America to Poland, Romania, Czech, and Rome. Okay? And you will see that it's certainly not going to be 3,000 because flights from, now you might not be able to take El Al to go to Europe, but you don't really need it either. Just use a regular airline. And then there you have it, you know. Now, some of the layovers in Europe can be ugly, like 6 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. You know, so I'm saying if you're going to get hit with a big layover and you come in Israel, just get a hotel and shake the jet lag for 2 or 3 days and then come to Israel. Then you leave your hotel. If you've got yourself a flight that leaves at 11 o'clock in the morning, you pull out of your hotel 7, 8 o'clock, go to the airport, check in, wait, and get on the plane, you know. Instead of hanging around an airport for 12 hours, you know how horrible that is? It's really horrible. There's places in Asia where they have these capsule hotels where you get a little capsule and in the airport you go in and go to sleep there. So guys, really, this is all I got right now, and we're on our way to what they call World War III, which is not a biblical term, but we're on our way. So I will keep you updated. I may do more live streams during the day. You might want to subscribe. Iran could attack us during the day or the night. We don't know. We don't know. So I send my Shabbat Shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And please pray for me and my wife Rivka for our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing. Pray we don't have to go in the bomb shelter. Pray for the animals and pets that are happy, healthy, and whole. And the bird that we all prayed for went back to her owner yesterday. He came over, he got her. She climbed right up on him. She knew him. She loved him. She cuddled up against him. He just got back from fighting in Gaza. And she left with him, and she never looked back. It was a happy reunion. Such a happy reunion. She was so happy to be with her daddy. It was great. All right, so guys, expect big stuff to go down. And again, remember, there's an outside chance there'll be some brief ceasefire peace thing popping up. It could happen. So I hope you got something out of this, and I'm out. Thank you.